Hey Tim, how are you? Happy Friday.
I'm great. Friday.
Absolutely.
We made it.
We sure did. Yep, we sure did. Now, before we start talking about auctions and opens and all that exciting stuff, we're both wearing blue today because it is Do It for Dolly Day. For those that don't know, Dolly, 14-year-old, committed suicide 2 years ago as a result of cyber bullying, and blue is her favourite colour. So I think in a time where we were only advised yesterday that suicides are likely to increase by 50% as a result of everything that's going on in COVID, I think it's really important that we wear blue for Dolly, recognise it, and just recognise that all of us are dealing with this differently, and be there to support each other. And let's be kind.
Oh, look, that's a great message, particularly the last bit. Let's be kind. I know. I went to my school reunion some years ago now, and somebody at that particular event said that they had to have a lot of counselling after school when we'd gone through school and gone on, because they had been bullied so much during school that it destroyed their self-confidence and all of that sort of stuff.
Wow.
And yeah, exactly. And thankfully, the individual didn't end up killing themselves, but it's it is a problem in schools. It is a problem with kids getting bullied at school and ostracised and all of it.
And it's a problem at work too, but we can save that conversation for another day.
Anyway.
So thank you for wearing blue. I appreciate it.
Good. And I painted my kitchen too.
I know, that was very quick. Well done. Well done. Impressive. So auctions and opens, we are back in business in New South Wales. Talk to me about what all that means for us tomorrow.
Yeah, so it's been very well publicised, hasn't it? But we are certainly back, and largely back to where we were before. However, having said that, there are still obviously all the social distancing requirements and all of those sorts of things as well. Now, there is a base for which the government has set for us. So the government has said that this is what you must do.
Yep.
And what we've done at the Institute over the last couple of days, and a big shout out to my team, I said to them just before we came on that I didn't know how they'd done it, and I still don't. But they managed to get all of the documents together. Now what we've done, Leanne, is to sit these additional best practice guidelines that'll sit on top of what the government has put out. Now, why am I trying to make life arguably
I was just
more
about to ask you that.
It's a great question. It's a great question. Now, the reason being is that I think we have got to embrace not only our obligations, but the spirit of the regulation, the spirit of the health order. And the spirit of the health order is to protect consumers, to protect people coming to the property. And there's some common sense initiatives in there that will just demonstrate that as an industry that we are going above and beyond. Now, I think maybe I'm got stars in my eyes, but I think one of the reasons that the government was prepared to give us this opportunity rather than some other industries is because that we were very, very compliant with our other obligations when they closed us right down, and we had to do a point. I think we did a great job. And I think we need to demonstrate that we're going to continue doing a good job going forward. So it's exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. I think it's important to recognise that both ACT and Queensland they've got limits of 10 people at their auctions, which is not the case for New South Wales. But the extra obligations or the extra suggestions that we've made to our members is just to make sure, as you say, things go smoothly tomorrow, because the government can take this away from us as easily as they've provided it to us, right?
100%. And so, some of the common sense stuff we're talking about is if you're having an auction on site, have it round the back of the property, in the backyard, not the front yard. Now, I know why you want to have it in the front yard, I get it, but take it round the back and limit the people that are coming to the auction in the auction ground, if we can call it that, in the auction arena area. To those people who are registered bidders. Restrict to that. That's all you want there anyway, is those people who are potentially going to buy it. And space them out, and hand sanitizer and all those sorts of things. And we also talked about paddles and having disposable paddles if you're so inclined.
Yeah.
Just the actual best practice stuff. I would say if I had to narrow it down, I'd say a lot of it is just common sense.
Common sense, yeah, absolutely. And so all of that information will be sent out to members today via email from your team. Open homes. So we've got to avoid touching things, which is a bit of a challenge. So I think we can do it one of two ways: either open all of the cupboards in the house, which you know, might work for some properties, or just say to people, have a look around. If you're interested, if you really want to have a better look around, let us know and we'll come through with a private inspection, and then we can make sure there's gloves and, you know, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. And when I was little, my mum and dad used to say to me, "Oh, you look with your eyes, not with your hands, so you don't have to touch things," you know. And
exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Now, we were on a call yesterday with the Health Department and Fair Trading, and we were told that we needed to have the safe work guidelines.
Yep.
Have you seen those?
Yep. But unfortunately, they're not specific to what we're doing. So I've gone back to Fair Trading and said to them, "Can you actually tell me what relates to our industry, to the property industry, or real estate or whatever?" And we're not actually named specifically in the orders.
Okay.
Sorry, in the legislation, in the safe work legislation. So I'm going to have a dig around in there and find out what specifically relates to us within the general framework, Leslie.
Okay.
So for the other industries, they've said, "This is yours," and that would have made life easy.
Yeah. Okay.
But,
all right. It's never easy enough, is it?
No. And it is. There is a complexity here, because when the agent goes on site, and if their crew, if their team's there, or even if the agent's there and the agent works for their company, that entire site becomes a workplace. Yeah. And that means there's another layer of obligations that sit over and above the health order. Yeah,
it does make it complicated. Okay, landlord insurance. Don't tell me you've got an update for me.
Yes. So so we ended up getting a link yesterday to some stuff that's come out of Canberra about discussing landlords insurance, and some of the resistance of the insurers to pay out on claims when people have done those deals. As you know, we have to go and do deals now, sit down and work out a rent. Now, the article said that these particular companies would pay out on that. However, I would be taking the insurer on the journey with me still. I'd be saying to them, what is it that you want me to do? Because obviously, if it's a $500 a week rent, and I turn up and I'm the landlord, and they go, "Don't bother me, $500." The insurer may not see it that way. They may say, "Hang on, I think you had an obligation to try and find something reasonable." So I would still engage the insurer on the process.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. And letterbox drops, it's classified as work. I mean, any salesperson would agree with you, right? They don't do it for fun.
No.
But we did have situations where people were getting stopped by the police a couple of weeks ago, but we have had confirmation that it is work, and so you're allowed to letterbox drop.
Yeah, so all of those people who've been sitting in the office saying, "Hey boss, I can't walk the streets and do
that's right.
drop boxes," it's
time to get back out there, people. Come on. Now, our Everybody Matters campaign has been generating a lot of communication to the Premier's office and a lot of comment on social media, some good, some bad. Tenants don't like the idea of us standing up for landlords, but the reality is standing up for landlords is also standing up for tenants. It is. It's if we can help the landlord, then that's helping the tenant, because we've never suggested that we give anything to the landlord without being able to then pass that support on to the tenants.
So I wondered how successful our campaign was going. It was just fun. And then I found out that the Premier's office had contacted us and said, "Hey, can you stop people sending letters to this particular website that I've got?"
Yeah.
Starting to clog up the website.
Shame.
My email site, so starting to clog that up.
What a shame. Now, we've also had some commercial landlords say, what can we do? And the reality is that the same letter can be used for commercial landlords, right? It's just a template to send through to your local member and to the Premier about your personal situation. So please, commercial landlords.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, go for it. The more that write and the more that point it out, the better chance we've got. And the clock is ticking, as we know. We've got till the 12th. So,
yeah, which is what Tuesday.
So I don't know exactly what is on the agenda for Parliament, but I don't even know if it's actually been published. I'll have to have a look.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting. I'll look forward to that update next week. Now, we've actually got 3 webinars on next week. I don't know whether you realise that, but on Tuesday, the 12th of May, we have got a webinar on Foot in the Door, which is a collaboration with our very good friends at Y Foundation, which is the New South Wales peak body for youth homelessness. And so Lauren Brown is going to talk to you a little bit more about helping, what help there is for us to assist with homelessness and youths trying to get into private rental accommodation. And so I would encourage all of the property managers to jump on that, because you will be really surprised at how much help there is out there for property managers to assist in that space. Thursday, the 14th of May, we've got our auctioneers, James Pratt, Clarence White and Jesse Davidson, on sharing information about online auctions and auctions in general. And then on the 15th, on Friday at 10:30, REI Super are talking about the pandemic impacts on your super. Now, I know that sounds like it's going to be really boring, but I can tell you I watched that presentation from Jared and Charlene, and it's really interesting. And so I would encourage everybody to jump on and get really clear about your super. Yeah, as we know, when the market went like that, our super went with it. So I think, I think it's worthwhile having a listen to what's happening. Maybe there's some opportunities. I don't know. Yeah, absolutely. So I'll be tuning in. I know you will too. Anything you want to share before we go?
I don't think so. I think that was enough.
That's plenty.
I think so.
Plenty.
It certainly has. It certainly has been coming thick and fast, hasn't it? I suppose only one other thing, and this is, I know you've been doing some work in this area. We talked about axing the tax on stamp duty and the sort of problems that's causing, and and maybe you can elaborate a bit further on it. But when you say there's no more, when the government said, hey, there's no more tax stamp duty, of course, everybody said, well, I'll buy my property next week or the week after. So,
yeah, I mean, the sad reality, there is a news clip that I have got from Channel 9 News that you actually were in, was the interview that you did. So if anybody wants that, just reach out. I'm happy to share it. And it basically says, if you don't pay stamp duty, you'll be paying land tax.
Really?
So that's pretty much what it said, and it went through the numbers. So you'd be paying between $2,000 and $4,000, I don't know where those numbers came from, but between $2,000 and $4,000 a year land tax for every year that you're in the property. So, a lot of people that I've spoken to have said, oh God, what's the point? I'd rather pay stamp duty. So the other thing is that the government have said that they won't make any changes without a whole lot of public consultation. They've also got to, get the opposition and other parties on board. So it's a long way. There's a long road to go. I know you and I are going to put it on the agenda for our board meeting, because there's a lot of conversations we need to have about whether we would even support what the government is suggesting in that space. So watch this space. We'll talk about it more soon.
But I think that's a really good point that you make, though. It's not going to happen now, and that's the message that government didn't get out there.
Yeah.
It's there was an announcement, and then my work here is done.
Yeah.
And that was the problem. So we
well, it's like utopia, right? And all
an announcement.
And make an announcement. Anyway.
All right.
Have a good weekend. I'll catch you on a Monday.
No worries. Stay safe. We'll talk to you Monday. Bye.